They shouldn't make you feel unhappy all the time, and they shouldn't make you feel just kind of blah all the time. Like, neither one of those things. If that's all you're getting, it's
Yeah.
probably not a good sign.
Hello.
Hello.
You know what I realized? I'm wearing a black tank top in like every single recording. I don't mean for it to be that way. I promise I have other clothes. It's just that I'm in my room and it's hot. And why mess up a good thing?
I understand. It rained here a bit ago, so it finally got below 95.
Oh my God. Us too. I mean, it got down to 88 today, which
Ooh.
was amazing.
My car said it was 85 right after it rained. I was like, that feels
Better get your sweater out.
I know.
I do have a tagline today.
Okay.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome back to another episode of Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where happiness is a 4-letter word. I am Christina.
And I am Lauren.
And today we're finally sharing the results of our poll from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
3 maybe?
It couldn't have been a month ago.
No, I think it had to be 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Where we asked, how does unhappiness serve you? And do you place value on being happy? I believe you came up with that question.
I think so. I came up with the topic.
Just take credit.
So why not?
Just take credit.
Okay, I did it.
You did it. But first, we have 2 weeks of catching up to do since we did not record last week. The reason is because we weren't really feeling it and we didn't really get a ton of poll answers at that point. And so we were just like, you know what? Let's just give them another week.
Yeah, we didn't have it in us to fake a surprise episode if we had to put this one off. So yeah, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's fine. So Lauren, where are you at?
I was gonna say, how about you start this week?
Oh, but mine kind of segues into the topic.
Oh.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to start making decisions. I have to be forceful.
I'm so proud of you. So where am I at? I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because I found out that my rapist moved in downstairs. Yeah. And in case you're like, wait, you're what? I haven't really talked about it. So don't feel bad if you don't know what's happening, because I've purposefully not talked about it in order to respect this person's privacy and whatever, which as a people pleaser, that is a thing I do that I'm trying not to do. But yeah, it was my ex, who I've talked about plenty on this podcast since 2021. I'm not going to say his name, but you know who it is. If you know, you know. Actually, when this comes out, I may or may not have already published a piece on Substack that I wrote about him.
Okay.
So yeah, for 2 years, I have not spoken about it on the podcast. I haven't written about it. And like I said, that's changing. So how am I feeling? I am feeling unsafe.
Yes.
First and foremost, when I found out, I only found out because my roommate cleans the building and she ran into him. He's literally living underneath me. Ugh. As we speak. I mean, I don't think he's here now because his car is gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found out he's been parking across the block so I wouldn't see.
Yeah, so it's all deliberate. It's disgusting.
Yeah. He told my roommate, he didn't want to upset me. Yeah, I don't feel safe. I feel disrespected and violated. Even my therapist was like, I feel queasy. And yeah, I've basically been feeling nauseous since I found out 3 days ago. As we're recording, it is June 27th. Oh, it's my brother David's birthday today. He listens to the podcast. Sorry, David, that this is the moment we share that.
This is when I think of it. Happy birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, David. We love you. Anyway, back to my trauma. I mean, I'm laughing about it now, but this is like the first time I've been able to laugh in like 3 days.
Mhm.
Um yeah, when I found out, I immediately drove to my parents' house, and my sister Caroline is recovering from a tonsillectomy, so she's always there basically
Okay.
for 2 weeks. And so she and my mom validated my feelings and basically trashed him, and that made me feel better.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have to sleep under the same roof as the man who raped me.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's gross. I'm not going to tell the whole story now, maybe on a future episode, but like I said, if that piece is published by the time this comes out, I'll post a link to it
Mhm.
in the show notes, and that does tell the whole story. So, yeah, with that said, I'm trying to move up my move
Yeah.
to Richmond.
No shit.
I don't want to stay here till September
Uh-huh.
1st. I have so much support right now. Like I have a friend who sent me some money to like get out immediately if I need to. I have another friend who let me stay at their place for a couple nights. And then I made the decision to sell my car
Mhm.
when I moved to Richmond. So my plan, I guess, is to get out as soon as I can, just get there, sell my car, and then my sister will join me at the original time we planned.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the plan. I'm kind of taking it one day at a time, kind of flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, I'm really unhappy in this situation. Tying it to the theme today. But I do feel motivated. I feel like this was kind of the last push I needed to just be like, fuck this place. Like, I am out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk more about that later because it actually has a lot to do with the answers we got.
Okay.
But yeah, I just feel kind of numb. I'm still sober though,
Good.
which is miraculous. I have almost bought Benadryl so many times,
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
sure.
honest. I just want to like numb the fuck out.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I can't afford to because I have 3 jobs. You know, nothing else has changed. I'm still saving and people depend on me. And I am trying to be nicer to myself in the hopes that things will work out.
Mhm.
And I don't want things to work out and then I'm miserable and sick, you know, because then it won't last.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Like I'm starting to see that when good things happening to me isn't luck or manifestation or whatever. It's just like when I take care of myself, things tend to fall into place.
Or like it's easier to make that happen. Like
Yes.
you
Yeah,
don't have
that's
to
what I
just
meant.
rely on luck.
Yeah. And I'm also more likely to sustain that kind of lifestyle that I want if I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew? But I really want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm not is because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
We'll see. Next week, we'll see if I end up caving.
Well, if you want to just, like make your way to St. Louis and escape, then I would also let you smoke
It's
weed.
tempting. Oh, thank you. So benevolent. Oh, I would if I could. I cleaned my car yesterday for 3 hours and I took some really cute pictures to
Mhm.
list it for sale, and I just was dead afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know what that had to do with. I was picturing me driving to St. Louis, and
Oh.
then I was thinking about my car.
Okay.
I was like, could my car get to St. Louis? How long would that take?
Yeah, because I do have
I'm gonna look it up while you talk.
okay. I do have a nice it's a chair that you can kind of like pull out into oh, I'm at the point where I really hope by the time I said this sentence the word would come to me. What the long chairs.
Okay, Michael Scott. Oh, a chaise lounge.
Yes.
A chaise
Yes.
long, whatever.
Yes, you can pull it out into that, but you can also fold the back down and then it's a bed.
Oh, a futon.
Well, it's not really
No.
a futon. I mean, it definitely
A chaise long.
It definitely looks like either a chair or you pull it out and it looks like a chaise, but it's
I don't know how to pronounce that, but someone tell us.
pretty
Because I feel like we're
sure it's chaise in French,
chaise.
but there's a lot of French words that in American we don't quite pronounce them correctly and everyone accepts that.
St. Louis is 13 hours and 39 minutes away.
That's all.
That's all.
It's only like 2 more hours than I do when I drive to Michigan.
If I decide to bike, it's 4 days.
Oh my God.
And walking
Oh no.
is 14 days.
Okay.
Only 2 weeks.
That's all. I mean, that
Yeah,
would use
so-
up so much time where you don't have to be in your current apartment.
I thought you were going to say that would use up so many calories.
No!
Anyway, that's where I'm at. Where are you at?
I am. Oh shit!
Who's calling you?
Boyfriend.
Oh my God! You should answer. You should answer.
Hello. Hooray! You're on the podcast.
Well, we can't really hear him.
You're not really, because you're not on speaker. Anyway, we just started. Can I call you back in about an hour? Okay. All right. Bye.
What did he want?
Probably just to see when I was done. A water main broke outside of his house, so he hasn't had water until just recently.
Shit. That's not good.
No. So he's just calling to let me know he showered. Because it's
Oh.
bad.
I mean, we were all wondering.
I know. It's very important. Anyway, answering where I'm at, I feel like, I don't know. Do I feel stagnant? Because it feels like the same thing that I've been, like a lot of the same things that I've been saying. I mean, the same things that I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, and also the same things I've been saying for the past couple months, because the two things I think of is just, the sheer busyness of moving into this new place and, buying for the first time, which brings all of its own new items. And also, I know that it's very nice. My mom is very excited to come down and do things with the new place, and and she's going to spend money so that I can have new things. And we did. Oh my God, we made my bathroom amazing.
I want to see a picture of it.
We painted and we did peel and stick wallpaper.
Oh my God, that stuff is harder than it looks.
Yeah, it was my first time doing any wallpaper, so I can't compare. You can see.
Wait, hold it.
Find
Okay.
the camera.
Wait, that's the wall?
Yeah.
I thought it was the shower curtain at first. Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
It is. It's so beautiful.
Describe it. Describe it to the listeners.
So we painted the walls like a pale blue, and then there's this kind of like slightly recessed wall at the end, and that's the one that we did the paper on. It's like a dark blue paper, and it's busy print. It has flowers and peacocks, and it's just really cool.
It's like climbing vines and white flowers. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I couldn't notice the peacocks from that.
No. but I did notice when I was looking at wallpaper, I'm like, I think I like birds now, because I was looking at ones with birds.
Did you not before?
Well, I didn't hate birds. I just didn't think about them.
You just didn't decorate with them.
Yes.
So now you're in your bird era.
My bird phase, yes.
Okay. So your mom visited you.
Yeah, but so my mom was there, and I mean, that always brings its own stress. It's her in my space. I feel like I have a limit of how long she can stay in my space with me, which is usually 2 days, and this time it was 4. Including a day that I kept telling her not to stay because I didn't want her poking around my place while I went to work. I took 2 days off work, Monday and Tuesday, and she just kind of sprung on me Tuesday night. Oh no, I'm not driving back tomorrow. Well, that's what I kept saying. And she's like, no, I can't. And she had all these, I don't know, reasons why she couldn't, but she did leave Thursday morning at least.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
With your mom, who I've never met, but I've heard stories.
Yeah, she is...
Love her.
Oh yeah, but I think it's for a 74-year-old woman. She is intense. She is a lot of energy, and it gets exhausting sometimes. And she's, the most perfectionist person I've ever met, and I know a lot of perfectionists.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Included.
Again, that's saying something.
Right. So there's that. And that just has me, like straight out exhausted. And then, the other thing that I feel like I keep talking about, but, it just keeps like, I guess, going to come and go in waves. And I think just moving into the new place and being really excited for a few days to be here. And then I just started thinking about like, my dog was supposed to come with me, Yeah. I was like, he should have a beautiful place too. So yeah, just some nights of being really sad about that, and
of course.
And then that leads to the whole like, boyfriend's not getting rid of his dog, and
Still,
then I just don't think it's gonna happen.
are you okay with that?
I am okay with it in that he makes an effort to come here all of the time, and he does not ever ask me to go to his place. He knows when I said, that it sounded like he wasn't going to. I just said, okay, I can't go there, and I can never see that dog again. So as long as you're okay with me not going to your place. And he seems okay with that.
Oh, hold on.
Nope.
I closed
You
the door on his
smacked
little
his
butt.
butt.
I'm so sorry, Faye. He's not going to listen to this podcast.
Okay.
But
But I can't remember if I talked about this. Like, the thing that I feel like upset me the most about this is finding out that, like, there was some members of his family that he didn't tell what happened.
yeah, you did talk about that.
Yeah, and there was another one recently because one of his brothers was staying at his house for a bit. And I did actually go over to his house then, but all I was doing is I was looking at something in the backyard. I wasn't going to go inside or anything like that. But we walked through his garage, and his brother is already there at his house, and he comes to the garage door, and so does the dog. And, and he, like, the boyfriend is instantly, like, no, keep him in the house. And, and I just, like, kept going and everything. But I'm pretty sure, because this brother doesn't seem like he didn't tell the one brother who lives nearby, but he doesn't seem as close to. So I'm sure he didn't tell this one who lives in Florida. And it's just making me feel, it's like we had an incident with the other brother where they had to, like, just shut down the conversation and instantly, like, turn it. And this one, like, I walk up and he's telling, I'm like, get the dog out of there, keep him in the house. And I'm just kind of like feeling like, okay, so what? Your family's gonna just, like, think that I hate dogs because you don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation?
Yeah, that's a little weird. It doesn't seem sustainable.
Yeah.
In the way that it's going right now.
And we will see, because I am supposed to go next weekend. We have a kind of extended weekend. There's a lake a few hours away where his family has gone for these big kind of, like, extended family reunions, and we're going down there. And I mean, I have it in my head because that is one thing that does upset me, that I'm just kind of like, well, you never said that it's a secret. So I feel like if it comes up with, like, one of the brothers who don't know and they say something, about, like, oh, do you just not like dogs? I'll just be like, no, his dog murdered my dog.
Yeah. Well, also, I don't know how long he's had that dog. You've said before.
I think,
like
like,
a few
4,
years.
maybe 5 years at this point.
Yeah, it's part of the family.
Yeah,
and
I mean, that was why it came up before, is because apparently his brother's wife, must really like the dog. She's probably known him for years, and she's like, oh, how is he doing? Does he still do this funny thing and everything? And,
Well, that's even weirder that he didn't mention it, because that's a big fucking deal.
Right.
And he's probably mentioned that you have a dog at some point.
Probably,
like, because that's such a big part of your personality.
I know.
Or was, like,
I know.
I don't know.
I know. Like,
It's
this is the part that I really don't like. The only one I agree with is, his 94-year-old mother does not need to know. Because,
oh, well, yeah.
sounds like...
That's really hard. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And he hasn't said so, but it just feels to me that it's just kind of like he doesn't want to have the awkward conversation, or he doesn't want to potentially have his family judge him, say, like, well, I think you should have got rid of that dog,
Well, in that case, it sounds like he already knows what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would get it if he was, like, ashamed or embarrassed about it, but
And that could be too.
Still,
I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah.
Of course, you're not going to want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, I know he feels terrible about it. But yeah, how can you avoid talking about something like that?
Yeah, like, once, I feel like if you didn't feel the need to go out of your way to have this conversation with family you don't see and you're not as close to, okay. But once you see that it is coming up in front of me, I feel like you have to.
Not to, like, keep talking about this. But, does the band know about it?
Yes.
The rest of the band members?
Yes.
Okay. Did it make things weird in the band at all?
We haven't really been able to meet up much.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because, we're kind of trying to reform with a different drummer. And so I imagine, like, they just don't talk to that drummer as much anymore, but he must have, like, after a few weeks had a conversation with my boyfriend, because then he, like, the old drummer independently messaged me and was like, "Hey, I just heard about what happened, and I'm really sorry." So that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my unhappiness.
Yeah, good segue. So I say good segue and then I don't segue. We have 3 responses unless more come in while we're recording.
Okay. We have a voicemail, right?
We have a voicemail from Jess.
Mm-hmm.
And I will play it now. Again, the question was, how does unhappiness serve you, and do you place value on being happy?
Unhappiness can be the catalyst for change. When I think of how unhappiness can serve me, I of course take a step back and consider every other emotion as well. And I think about, as much as I hate dialectic behavioral therapy, I think about that. Two things can be true at the same time. I can be unhappy and I can see how it can serve me. I can see that sitting in my unhappiness isn't going to make anything better. I have to start implementing changes to change how I'm thinking about whatever it is that's making me unhappy, whether that be myself, an event, a situation, another person. I have to change my thinking to pull myself out of that unhappiness. And so at times that unhappiness, when we're thinking about friendships, right? If somebody does something wrong to me and I'm finding myself more unhappy than happy with that friendship, what am I still doing in it? That's my catalyst for change. I am no longer interested in continuing this relationship because it's no longer serving me in a positive way. Same with employment or our behaviors, right? Like I quit vaping because at one point I woke up and was like, man, I am unhappy with how I feel when I breathe and something's got to change. So I think it certainly can serve its purpose. I just think that when we immediately think of it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So many thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because there were birds singing in the background, but I immediately thought of a canary in a coal mine.
Oh, uh-huh.
Like the canary is unhappiness, and when you feel unhappiness, it's she used the word catalyst. It's a signal that something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that was just like a really good point, like right off the start, that it's just kind of like unhappiness is related basically to change. And it makes me think that, I mean, first of all, when you find you're unhappy, then you've got two choices. You can do something about it or you cannot. And I was thinking of it in terms of like, and that doesn't have to be, because especially like if you're unhappy and depressed, then like I wanted to be really sensitive to the idea of saying like you can do something about it or you cannot, because I know like if you're like stuck in depression, that really sounds like I don't feel like I can. But I was thinking in terms of like saying do something about it could even be as much as like I'm just going to try not to dwell on this. I'm going to try not to let it bother me. I was thinking in particular my good friend, like all growing up, I'm sure I've mentioned her on here, that like her and I were in Chicago at the same time, that she just like randomly stopped talking to me, and that was like 2016, and I haven't talked to her since. I still, to this day don't know why, but I do feel, like that really, really bothered me at first because I didn't know why. And I tried a few times and she wouldn't answer me. So I just had to accept like that she's not going to, but I still was just like, what did I do? And, like thinking all the time, like, could it have been this? Could it have been that? And it does seem like after, I'd say about like 3 years, that I just had to kind of like reframe my mind around it and just be like, okay, I'm putting so much effort into letting this bother me. And at this point, it's not going to change anything. So I maybe just need to, one of our favorite words, accept that
The other 4-letter word.
But yeah, I mean, some of it's time, but thinking about it now, I can definitely say that it's like, it does not bring up the same feelings in me that it would have like a few years ago thinking about it. So,
yeah, I was thinking from her perspective, maybe she was unhappy for whatever reason, and she felt like the thing that she had to do was cut communication.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, you'll probably never know why.
Right.
I have a similar situation, except I was the unhappy party and I didn't leave. Actually, I have a few situations like that because that's my pattern. I'm unhappy, but instead of seeing it as a catalyst for change, it's not that I choose to keep being unhappy. I just kind of hope that happiness will passively find me.
Mm.
Like, I don't do anything, I don't empower myself to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to take more of an active role in my own happiness these days. And yeah, when I'm unhappy, I do see it as a warning that I need to do something.
Yeah.
Not to say, like you said, you can't always do something. Sometimes you just have to, as they say, lock in and like just bear down
Yeah.
and get through the unhappiness.
I know for me, it feels like there is a breaking point because I think of times, yeah, where like a certain situation is clearly just like really affecting me and making me insanely unhappy all the time. And it does feel for me like first I just got to kind of wallow.
Yeah.
And then at some
That's
point,
necessary.
yeah, then it's kind of like just knowing at some point some switch will flip and it'll just be like, okay, this can't be the rest of my life though. So now I got to do something.
Well, that's another thing. That's another way that that's another way that unhappiness serves you
Mm-hmm.
is by validating the fact that something is not right.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you wallow in your unhappiness, you are accepting that something is not right. You are kind of validating that. You can't do it forever, obviously. And that's, I guess, where the idea of rock bottom comes from.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking as we're talking about this, like both of us have been to treatment by our own choice. And if it's your choice, then you most likely have been miserable for a while and at one point said, I can't just keep doing that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about that. Like, for someone who doesn't give a shit whether they live or die, I'm so impressed that I managed to make that choice to go to treatment. Like, I had enough wherewithal to be like, I am so unhappy and sick and I don't want to be this way. Or maybe it was a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
You can probably relate.
Yeah, for sure.
Unhappiness has a way of making you take action even if you don't necessarily want to.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's,
I mean, I think for me, yeah, it probably got to a point, I feel like, where I don't necessarily see anything getting better, but I'm just like, there's no way that it could be worse. So
so might as well
almost,
change.
yeah, it's just like, well, let's give it a try.
Yeah. I also like how Jess said that two things can be true at the same time.
Mhm.
Like you can be, oh, what did she say? You can be unhappy and want to change. She said it in such a good
I
way.
know.
Man, Jess, we love you.
Yep.
Thank you for sending that voicemail. Okay. Our comment is from my friend Phoenix, and they responded to our post on Instagram.
Oh, I didn't see
our
that
yearly
one.
post.
Okay.
Well, it was a story.
Oh, okay.
So it disappeared. But they said kind of the same thing. Unhappiness serves as an indicator of change that is needed. It's your body telling you that whatever you're doing/going through isn't okay. I think everyone wants to experience happiness, and I think everyone can. It's just a moment by moment occurrence. No one emotion is a true state of being. That last sentence made me think a lot. Like, what does it mean to be a true state of being?
It sounded to me like they were saying that your state of being is always going to be a collection of things. That it's like, it can't be one thing.
Yeah. It is a moment by moment occurrence. Like, especially if you deal with mental illness or whatever, I feel like feelings come and go so fucking fast, moment to moment. I mean, I feel fine right now, but when I hang up, I might plummet back down. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or I might feel uplifted and go on a walk and be on top of the world and make plans for the future. And then tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll feel dread again. Like, it's so comforting to me to realize that whatever I'm feeling, it's temporary.
Yeah. I've definitely had a lot of anxiety show up the past couple of weeks because I'm navigating new ground. I'm afraid I'm not going to do something right. I mean, I've never had to be in the situation where I could screw up and the bank could be like, "We're going to repossess your house." I don't want
Oh my God.
to. But that's immediately going to like
Catastrophizing
spiraling
who?
fast. Yeah. And, but that's the thing is even, just like having all this like anxiety in the back, like, oh my God, I hope I remember to do everything. I hope that I'm not, don't like forget something that I need to. And then even though I could have paid something that doesn't get paid and I screw up my credit more and, disaster and everything. But that doesn't mean like 24/7. I'm just worried that I'm going to mess something up. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like it's fleeting. It comes, I freak out for a minute, and then, maybe I do something fun and I forget about it.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about stress and anxiety and unhappiness and how they're all related. Like, I think if you're stressed, well, like unhappiness, stress can have a positive function.
Mhm.
It can force you to do things.
Yeah.
But I think if you are under stress for an extended period of time, not only is it bad for you physically, but mentally, obviously,
Mhm.
it can quickly lead to something more intense,
Like
such as
burnout.
unhappiness.
Another
Burnout.
one we've talked about.
Yeah. Same with anxiety.
Mhm.
I think anxiety can definitely be a canary in a coal mine,
Yeah.
like if you're with someone and the vibes are off, you feel anxious around them. That's probably a sign that they're not a good person to be around.
I think of when you said that, like, oh, this is perfect because my mom was just here, and I feel like
Speaking of anxiety,
no, no, using hers because something that I noticed she has like higher than most, like a very high anxiety of like driving in places she's not familiar with.
Oh, my mom too.
Yeah, so I mean, I hear about it a lot, if she has to like drive somewhere and she's like, "Oh, like I don't know what it's going to be like and I'm afraid of the traffic and I'm trying to plan around and everything like that." But I'm thinking like, okay, so I know that, when she's driving in a new place, yes, she is very anxious, but I would think that that could also make you more alert and could help
Yeah.
you not get in accidents.
Yes.
So yeah, it's serving a purpose. It's not fun while you're in it. You're not like, I love being anxious and driving, but
how does your anxiety serve you?
Yes.
You could turn any
yeah,
emotion.
anything.
But I think that just shows that we are taking Orion's advice and, looking at things from multiple perspectives,
Mhm.
like things are not good or bad. Emotions are not good or bad. Everything has a purpose.
Yeah, these are supposedly
And
negative emotions, but they do good sometimes.
yeah. And for listeners who don't know, Orion is a listener / friend who leaves us voicemails sometimes. And one of his voicemails was like, I think you guys always ask, are things good or bad?
Yeah.
And it's not very helpful.
Things are not
So
always
yeah,
black and white. We're like, we know.
that was really helpful
Yeah.
because I think we've been doing a great
Mhm.
job since then. Oh God. Yeah, I am thinking about my relationship with my ex. Even before the assault happened, even before we broke up,
Mhm.
I was unhappy.
Yeah.
And I know he was unhappy. But rather than use that as a catalyst to change, we kind of tried even harder at the relationship.
Mhm.
And then we got even more unhappy. And it's just like you can only resist unhappiness so much. You can only pretend to be happy so much.
True.
I think one of our reactions to unhappiness is to try to force ourselves to be happy
Yeah.
because we think like, oh, the opposite of unhappiness is happiness. So if I'm happy, then that unhappiness will go away.
Right.
Speaking of, dialectical or, the opposite of dialectics. Yeah. Unhappiness is not a bad thing. And especially in relationships, it's super important to pay attention
Yeah.
to when you're unhappy.
It's good signals.
I mean, there's probably people listening right now that are unhappy and trying to ignore it, or
I've
I don't know.
definitely
And
stayed
it's
in
not.
relationships longer than I should have where I was unhappy, thinking like, oh, this is just something everyone goes through, or I'm sure I can make it go away.
Well, I'm not saying also to break up if you're
No.
unhappy, but you need to change something. Like have a conversation.
Mhm.
at the very least. Just be like, hey, I'm kind of unhappy. Or if that feels too harsh, like, I don't know, how would you go about that? If you could redo those relationships where you stayed silent too long, like, what would you say to kind of bring that up? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I know. I mean, the one I'm thinking of, because it was the most recent, like, honestly, I just shouldn't have stayed as long as I did.
We all have those, don't worry.
Yeah. Just like when I think back, I was like, we were together for like a year or so, and I feel like there was never a time in that entire relationship that, like, I knew every single day of it that it was just kind of like, well, it's not like this is going to last forever. I never saw myself staying with that person. So it was just kind of like, then why am I continuing to? It's like, I understand that for, maybe like a couple of months because, you don't really know. But yeah, as we cross like a year and I'm still just kind of like, yeah, but eventually I'll find the relationship that, hopefully is going to last for the rest of my life, because I know it's not this.
Well, you don't know for sure whether you're going to meet someone new, but you know for sure that you're with this person now, and they might not be perfect, but it's someone.
No, but I knew
It's someone.
But I
to
knew
go
for
home
sure
to.
that I would not want to be with that person long term. And that's why I said it was like for like a month, I feel like you can ride that out, because I feel like you can say that, but you don't really know. But yeah, when it was like a year and 3 months and I'm still saying that, then it's like, maybe I should start thinking about doing something about this instead of just staying because it's comfortable, even though I don't want it.
Yeah. Also, I think that unhappiness isn't necessarily a feeling of misery. It's a lack of happiness.
Yeah, and that's what this was like. Like, it was nothing terrible for the most part. It was just, I'm not getting anything out of it, and I wish there could be more.
Yeah, exactly. The person you're with is supposed to, or, anyone that you spend your time with, friends, family, whatever. Sorry, truck.
Okay.
I don't know. I was going to say they should make you feel happy, but I don't think that's true either.
Yeah,
Sometimes you need to be challenged on your bullshit.
for sure. But they shouldn't make you feel unhappy all the time, and they shouldn't make you feel just kind of blah all the time. Like, neither one of those things. If that's all you're getting, it's
Yeah.
probably not a good sign.
Do you want to read our last comment?
I do. The one on Peach?
Yes.
Did we get a second one?
Did we?
Oh, no. Someone just said they tried.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Someone was like, I put this in my friend group chat, so hopefully you get some notes from them. Isn't that sweet? Everyone, you should send our polls to people who don't listen to the podcast.
Yes, we'll
harass them.
We would take their insight too.
Yeah.
Okay. But yes,
Anyway.
our comment, unhappiness serves me by giving me a killer sense of humor, or maybe a killer case of self-doubt. Something, thanks. It's the trauma. I think I gave up on chasing happiness when I acknowledged it's never going to be anything but fleeting, given vague gestures around the place. I can be grateful for the beautiful and the painful outlets, for the creative and healing outlets I've discovered, thanks to coping with happiness, if we want to shine up a turd. On a better day, I might say chronic unhappiness taught me how to appreciate moments of contentment as they come in waves throughout my days, so I could finally stop chasing this idea that I was supposed to figure out how to be happy all the time.
Oh my God.
That ending is great.
That ending is great.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before, how, like, we know that there's a pressure to be happy, but yeah.
Like, it makes me think of how I've seen so many people have to come to terms with the idea, and some people haven't yet, that the lives you see people lead on social media is not their only life. Like, people like making themselves so unhappy because they see somebody on Instagram that it's like, I'm always eating beautiful food and going to beautiful places and taking beautiful pictures, and that's all you ever see, so that must be all I ever do. And they feel like they have to be that too because they see everyone else like that. Like, why isn't my life like that? Why do I walk in and drop a 12-pack of eggs on the floor and fuck things up?
Very specific example.
I don't know. I was just searching for something.
I heard 12-pack and I thought beer. Then you were like, eggs.
I think because I was looking for a drink. I was first going for milk, but I was like, ugh, who drinks milk anymore?
Honestly,
You do?
eggs are No.
Oh, okay.
Eggs are probably more expensive than
Yeah,
beer
and then
right
once
now.
I said eggs, I was like, that would be upsetting because goddamn, look at all the money you just wasted if you broke a dozen eggs.
But yeah, you think, oh, I'm the only one that fucks up.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with me.
Yep.
Why can't I just be happy like this person?
Right. But they're not either. So,
Yeah. Unhappiness is part of the human condition and it comes and goes.
Mhm.
It's not like I like the part when they said it gives them a killer sense of humor.
Me too.
That made me kind of realize that I tend to kind of almost romanticize my unhappiness. Because I've been unhappy for so long in my life, I do feel pressure to not only be happy, but to stay happy. And so my way of coping with that pressure is by embracing the unhappiness and joking about it and kind of making it an identity. But I do need to embrace those moments of contentment and let myself feel happy when it comes.
Yeah, I was thinking of it like I do feel grateful that a lot of the unhappy moments in my life I feel like have shaped my sense of humor, while at the same time I have managed to in more recent times try to do some work on myself and realize like you can't always deflect with humor. Sometimes you have to go into that stuff, but it's funny that came up because I've been telling people as I'm working to get the last of my things out of the apartment from hell. It was raining today when I was talking to a coworker, and I was like, "Oh crap, that means I have to like try and get everything out really fast before the floors leak again all over everything." And then I was just like, I just can't wait until I'm completely out of there and that place is nothing but a funny story that I tell people. And she's like, "It's good that you're almost able to laugh about it."
Almost able to laugh
And
about
I was
it. I
just,
like that.
it just felt really fitting for what we're talking about now because, yeah, I was very miserable there and it definitely was affecting my physical and mental health.
Yeah.
And it sure didn't seem funny when I was in the middle of it, but it's getting there.
I gotta let Fang
Yeah,
in. Hold
okay.
on. Then I have a final note.
Okay.
You know what? As punishment.
Oh no. Yay! Hi, baby.
Okay.
Bang dance.
I was trying to make him cry. Let me collect my thoughts. What were you just saying? Oh, your apartment. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, when you're in it, the unhappiness is so crushing and all-consuming that it is impossible to think of a time when you can look back on it and realize the merit or even laugh about it. Like I'm going through that right now with my situation.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny in a weird way, like
Right.
I can see myself.
Yeah, but you're still in the middle. That's where I feel like right now it's just like reintroducing trauma. Like I don't expect it to, But it is what it is it's absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah,
So-
funny is the wrong word. It's absurd.
Yes. But so I can see where, later when you're out, when you feel safe, then, I wouldn't be offended if I were you telling that. Like, no, you can laugh. It is absurd.
It's absurd.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to get to the point where I can laugh at him.
But I totally understand that's not now.
No. Now it's just too...
Yeah.
Yeah. But this episode gave me a little bit of hope.
Good.
That, this is temporary, and I love how all of our listeners kind of said the same thing about unhappiness being an indicator that change is needed.
Yeah.
I almost want to do a follow-up question unofficially and be like, what changes do you think you need to make based on your unhappiness?
Yeah, if we knew that this is where the conversation was going to go, we could attack that on.
Yeah. I mean, I know what the answer for me.
Well,
I just got to do it.
I will say, if anyone wants to answer that, especially, I feel like if anyone ever just wants to leave a random voicemail, we'll play it. It doesn't have to be a poll answer.
Yes. Yeah, we've always said that, but it bears repeating. And you can still get a free sticker when you send in a voicemail for the first time. No one's taken us up on that. We had someone buy a sticker.
Okay.
Which was lovely. But... yeah, you don't even have to do that.
No.
Just send a voicemail on anything. You can suggest topics. Speaking of which, your topic next week?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's good. Give me extra warning. I need to know.
Yeah. So Lauren will be picking a new topic next week. Do we have a poll out right now?
What was your
Oh
last topic?
God.
And have
I
we?
don't remember.